Hey everyone, this is Chris with the Caffeinated Contractor. Today's episode is episode number 23. We speak with Lew and Amy Spencer of the Dryer Vent Superheroes here in Cypress, Texas. Today we talk about the importance of cleaning out your dryer vents and why that is important in regards to safety. They go into some statistics with the fire department. It sounds like there's 14,000 fires a year caused by dryer vents, dirty dryer vents anyway. And over $200 million worth of property damage due to fires from dirty dryer vents. So very important. We talk about that today. We talk about what signs to look for if your dryer vent is dirty and needs to be cleaned out. We also talk about the do-it-yourselfers, what kind of things you should be looking for and the dangers behind doing it yourself. We talk about some of the red flags of some companies out there. This industry is known, unfortunately, for some companies out there to scam people to come in. They quote a lower price. They come in and they upcharge to thousands of dollars at times. They use scare tactics. It's very unfortunate. I share a story that my wife and I experienced and how Lew and Amy came in and really gave us a peace of mind at the end. So we talk about that today. We talk about HVAC duct cleaning as well, some of the things that they've done, their experience with that, how often you should be doing it, both for the dryer vent and for the HVAC ducting. So we get into a lot of the specifics as to why you should be really concerned about dirty dryer vents and HVAC ducting. We also go into a little bit about their backstory of why they got into what they do, their heart behind it. They're great people. Lew and Amy have become friends of mine. They're people of integrity. They run a great company. They love the people that work for them, and they love their customers too. They go the extra mile. They love working and helping people out. So this is a great episode. If you want to hear some business owners who love their company, who love the people who work for them, and they love their customers, this is a great one. Educational from great people. Here we are, episode number 23. All right, here we are with another episode of the Caffeinated Contractor episode. I think we're in episode 23 now. I'm here with my friends Amy and Lew Spencer with Dry Vent Superheroes here in Cypress, Texas. And you guys are a new company, yeah?
Yeah, fairly new.
Yeah, within the last year or so?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And are you local to this area where you actually lived here for a while and you started your company?
Yeah, actually, Amy grew up here, and I've been here over 20 years. So,
Okay.
we are definitely local.
This is your hometown. Excellent. Yeah. And so before Dryer Vent, and we'll get into Dryer Vent and what you guys do, but before that, like, what was your background? What did you guys do? What kind of industry were you in?
We were in the HVAC industry.
Okay.
Well over 20 years of HVAC experience. So that's kind of our background. Amy's and very good with, administrative things and
Customer service stuff.
Customer service.
Yeah.
So how we got here, is that where we're going with this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So again, like he said, over 20 years in the HVAC industry, he has seen it all, especially being in the field for most of those years.
Yeah.
One of the things that we often saw was like big companies that like to cut corners because they're only looking at their bottom line. And when you have morals and values and you want to take good care of people, it doesn't create a good work-life balance.
Yeah.
Also seeing, employees and your team being overworked and underpaid and undervalued was also something that just wasn't sitting well with us in our previous company.
Yeah.
So we were seeking a better work-life balance.
Yeah.
We wanted to be able to do that for ourselves and to be able to be in a position to provide that for other people as well.
Yeah, that's what I liked about when I started my company, Elevation Construction, was you're the captain of your own ship. You create the culture. You create the environment that, when you kind of had a career before and you're like, I didn't like how I felt because this, and this, and I'm going to make a change. That's the exciting part of, in my opinion, of creating a company, is just that culture, treating people well, not just your team, but your customers too, right? So You treat your team well, that's going to overflow to them treating your customers well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's cool that you have a higher purpose other than, I have a passion for dirty vents.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, I want to take care of people. This is my background, and I'm going to put the two together. And so you guys decided to jump into Dry Vent Superheroes. What made you go into that vice starting an HVAC company?
We actually did have an HVAC. Well, we did, I guess we call it side work. We would take care of, our neighbors, friends, family, and word of mouth. We ended up taking care of a lot of people until we became part of a company that was also residential, because Lou has always been in commercial. So when it became a conflict of interest, we had to put that aside. And we did that while taking care of, our kiddos. We have 3 boys and 3 girls. So we were busy. And in the HVAC industry, it's always an emergency when your AC goes out in Houston. So, we'd leave the kids in the middle of dinner even, or have to miss things because, we had an elderly customer that needed to be up and running. So what was appealing to us about this is that it's never an emergency. It's okay to go without your dryer for a little bit, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. So for us, we really liked the simplicity of this business. And again, the hours involved.
And it kind of falls in line with HVAC, the ventilation part of it. So it was really right up my alley.
Yeah, it's like a support company for the HVAC industry that is not so urgent. Like, I need it cleaned, but it can be done tomorrow between these times.
Exactly.
So I totally get it. So just kind of on a high level, we'll get into the details, but like, what do you guys do? What is, what do you focus on, and what kind of services do you guys provide?
Well, obviously we focus on customer service. That's kind of something that's out the window for a lot of places.
Yeah.
So that's our main focus. But our services, we do dryer vent cleaning, reroutes and repairs. We do HVAC duct cleaning. We also do indoor air quality, so UV lights and things like that. So we really try to focus on just the air quality and obviously dryer quality, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing that we recently went through was, our dryer. We've got a new dryer, and it was telling us that there was a blockage, or there just was not enough airflow, and there was a warning light. And I'll be honest, like for me, I see that, I'm like, it'll be okay, just keep drying, But Linda, my wife, is just a little bit more cautious, and I am probably wiser in that area. But so we ended up getting it cleaned out. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but. Outside of a dryer telling you that it's blocked and needs to be cleaned, how will someone know if they need their dryer vent cleaned?
There's quite a few signs, telltale signs. One of them being, if you have to run your dryer more than once, that's a really good sign.
Yeah.
Depending on the type of load that you're running, really your clothes should dry within 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you're hitting that go button again, that's usually a sign saying, hey, there's not enough airflow.
Right.
Humidity inside the dryer, those windows you see on the front, if you see sweat dripping down, that's a big sign.
Okay.
I've seen, water inside of the flex hose behind the dryer full of water. We've even seen damaged sheetrock because the condensation sweating off of the vent pipe. Those are all telltale signs. And then again, that code that you see on that dryer when it says, hey, D80 or D90, that's basically that dryer saying, hey, I can't breathe. Take care of me.
Which we love, by the way, because most consumers don't know when they buy a dryer that dryer vent maintenance is a thing. Like,
doesn't come in the pamphlet.
It doesn't. Nobody tells you, hey, you need to get your dryer vent cleaned when you buy a house. Or what we're excited about are the new dryers, the technology that's giving people a warning. Hey, something's not right here. I can't breathe. Do something about it. And also we've noticed, I think, that inspectors are paying closer attention to that as well.
Yeah, which makes sense because, you guys, we can get in this a little bit later, but, there's a lot of house fires that start from this. That's something Linda brings up every now and then. I'm like, it'll be all right, but no.
Typical guy answer.
Yeah, right? It's not that important. We got other things going on. Exactly. But anyway, we got our stuff all set. But, we were renovating some apartment complexes in Washington, and there was an apartment complex. They all had dryers and washer and dryers inside each unit. And those dryer vents just were not cleaned out at all. It was like an absolute mess. And they had been there for 20 something years, and just imagine the mess in there. It's not an easy, it'd be easier for you guys because you guys do it. You guys know what you're doing. But for like an average person, it's just kind of hard. Like, well, how do I clean all this crap out of here? And it was very difficult, but I won't get into that. Long story short, there was a bit of a disagreement on whether it should be cleaned or not. And I told him, I said, it needs to be cleaned. I'm not taking the liability on this because this is an issue, right? I don't want to be
smart
responsible for a fire because of this. And I told him I could not do that. I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel comfortable doing it because it was so messy that we needed to pay a professional to come in. And whether it happened or not, I'm not sure. We just didn't do it. I didn't want that liability. But with that said, though, how often should somebody get their dryer vents cleaned?
The National Fire Protection Association, the U.S. Fire Administration, and the Consumer Product Safety Commission all recommend for the safety and efficiency to have them cleaned every year. We like to tell our customers it also depends on your dryer's workload. You know, do you have a big household? Are you running laundry all the time? Do you have fur babies? We all love our fur babies, but they make for messy dryer vents. They get plugged up pretty easy because of the hair. Also, what's the design of your dryer vent? Most homeowners don't even know where it exits. You know, does it go straight up through the attic and out your roof? If so, that's a long vertical climb for that lint to escape. Does it have a lot of bends? Is there a booster fan? A lot of people don't even know that there's actually a booster fan in their dryer vent, which we can go into later, but when they try to do it themselves, they damage it. So all of those are factors. According to all of the commission's administrations every year.
To be on the safe side.
But we have seen some that aren't quite ready to be cleaned after a year. So again, it depends on the usage.
Yeah. I would say that when ours got cleaned, it was had never been cleaned.
We hear that a lot.
My assumption. Yeah. But I mean, I'll be honest, I don't ever remember cleaning any of our dryer vents in any of our houses, right? But it wasn't until I met you guys and you guys are telling us about the statistics and the fire department getting involved and stuff that I'm like, okay, well, this is probably something we should pay attention to a little bit more.
One of the things that I think has changed are home designs they're bigger and grander and more complex. People want their laundry room on, an interior area of their home, making for the need for your dryer vent to be run in a different direction. Back in time, they had more simple floor plans and laundry rooms were on an exterior wall. The dryer vent just exited right out the side. It's a little 2-foot pipe, not an issue. Now we're seeing issues. And I think that's why after seeing the statistics on fires caused by dryer vents, are making these adjustments to guidelines.
Do you guys have any stats from the fire departments that they put out? Yeah,
the one that comes to mind is 2014 to 2018. They went through and found that fire departments responded to roughly 14,000 fires per year on average. Then the study said, like 7 deaths, 300, 400 injuries, $233 million in damages. It was a lot of money. So, they did that study because they realize that this is an important thing and, people should know that it's something that needs to be done. It's not just a made up thing.
Sure.
On that note, we have met a few people in our community who are now customers of ours who know someone who has lost their home to a fire. And I personally was surprised by the ratio of customers we've heard that from, as a new business.
Yeah.
They even they've even made reviews and put them on Google, and they're actually on our Google that, those passionate customers actually kind of briefly talk about their experience.
But sadly, they know that because someone's had a loss. People that don't know somebody, they don't think it's an important thing to do.
Which is probably the majority of us.
Yeah. But we didn't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I mean, so 14,000 fires are contributed to dryer vent type situations. There's a big need for education.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know you guys recently did something with the fire department, I guess, and just kind of spread awareness. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
We did. So like we talked about, we know that there is a lack of awareness in our community. And so therefore we feel kind of tasked with the responsibility of spreading that. One of the ways we are doing that, we attended the Cypress Fire Department's Fire Festival recently and got to, have a booth there and, just share information about what our company does and those statistics. The coordinator of the event actually, told us, you make sure that you encourage the community members that come your way to ask any one of these firefighters out here how often they go into a home that, a fire that was caused by a dryer vent or a vent in general. I think the other common one is bathroom exhaust fans.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Which we also service.
Okay.
As a little side note there.
Yeah.
So while the firefighters were thanking us, we had other fire departments approaching us saying they really liked the information we were sharing and asking us for our information so that we could attend their events as well. So we're really excited to be a part of something like that because, again, we want to make an impact in our community in a positive way, however small it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a fun way to do it.
Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. Okay, well, cool. So going back to the homeowner, what, there's a lot of do-it-yourself people.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
What can someone do to check to see if their vent is clogged? Let's say they don't have a dryer telling them, hey, I've got issues. And they want to just check themselves. What could they do? I know you guys got a camera, so it's a little bit easier, but for the regular homeowner who does not have a camera, what could they do?
Something small that they could do is, on the exterior of your home, if they know where it exits, they can take a walk around their home. And if they see a wall cap or a roof jack that looks like it has lint on it, there's a good accumulation of it. That's probably a telltale sign that it's long overdue.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything's kind of hidden. Everything's in the wall.
Okay.
Again, the booster fans, some people don't know they even have them. If they do, those are things that are all hidden. So it's kind of hard to tell. Not everybody, but most people pull out that lint trap and kind of clean it up.
Yeah.
But if you look down inside of there, if it's rough looking, that's probably a good sign it's time to go ahead and get it clean.
How do you know if you have a booster fan? The booster fan, right? Is that what it is?
Yes.
So is there a way you can determine whether or not you have one?
Oftentimes you'll be able to locate those on your dryer vent pipe in your attic space.
Yeah.
Sometimes builders like to put those in nice little cubbies in between the floor joists, which makes it really complicated to maintain. But it's very obvious that there's something in your line. I guess I wish we had a picture of it or something.
I would imagine that if it's going through the roof, like ours goes through the roof, I would imagine we would have one because then the dryer would have to push out so much air to get the lint out. Right.
And not all roof exits have a booster fan. It really depends on the length of your run. And again, how many bends it has to get to where it needs to go.
Okay.
But
anything over 35 feet, the builder's required to put a booster fan in there.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't think we have 35 feet.
I think you guys are good.
Okay. You know better than I do. I was just it's just kind of, I don't know. It's not something I look into, but okay. So going back to the do-it-yourselfers, they check. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe I should clean this out. What are the dangers of someone doing it themselves?
Ooh, a lot of the DIYers go to Home Depot or get on Amazon and order that kit, $20 kit comes with everything. Those things aren't built great. So a lot of times they'll snap inside the dryer vent or they'll run their drill in reverse and you lose the tools. So, we've had to fish them out. We've got special tools that'll fish out the DIYer kits.
Okay.
If they don't know what's in that dryer vent, they're just kind of running until they hit a stop. And that could be that booster fan they're running into. That could be a clog. They think it's the end of the run. So that's kind of, you got the leaf blower guys.
Those are the ones.
Those pushing all that lint just to wherever it, they think it might be going. Yeah. Creates a lot of, complete restrictions.
And they may even see a ton of lint coming out, but it's not all of the lint. Yeah. The lint just doesn't just blow when it's that lined, and not get stuck in those 90.
Yeah. We come across wet lint all the time. That leaf blower is not going to just blow it out. So that's kind of the leaf blower method. Tell people it's not the best idea.
But we do like showing customers that have done it and call us for help the camera footage of what it is they did. Oh yeah, look, the last 4 foot of your run looks good, but look at this traffic jam you've created for your dryer.
It's almost like using a leaf blower is like, okay, you brushed your teeth, but you didn't floss. You still have plaque in there that you didn't get out, right? And that can cause a cavity. So you got to do it right.
Yeah.
And you make a good point. So what our brushes do is they essentially polish that duct clean. So it's a nice, smooth transition. A leaf blower doesn't take that lining of lint off the side walls. Yeah. And as everybody knows, lint sticks to itself.
Yeah.
So even if you do it and you clear out your plug, your vent is still lined with lint, and it will just build up that much faster.
So with the polishing, it's like you guys do fluoride too. You brush and you floss and you do fluoride.
We are your dryer dentist.
There you go.
Some people like to say it looks like a colonoscopy, though.
Oh, okay. That's another one. Sure. Yeah. That's funny. All right, cool. So there's a lot of companies out there. I would imagine that someone says, I'll just grab a tool and I can go clean vents and charge money for it. What's the proper equipment a company should have when they're doing this stuff?
There's a couple different methods. One of them is air tools. Some companies love using air. They'll get up on that roof or on the side of your home, run an air hose and just blow everything out all over the yard, your neighbor's yard. We use rods, brushes, and we actually use a commercial grade HEPA vacuum cleaner.
Oh, okay.
So our tools are thousands of dollars. Something I wasn't aware of, when we first got into the business. But those tools are very expensive, and I see why now. They hold up. So that's our camera is a big thing.
We think that's one of the most important tools we have that a lot of our competitors do not.
Yeah.
If your company can't provide you with time-stamped photos of work that you cannot see, how do you know they're doing what they say they're doing? And we have had several instances where we are able to show with our cameras exactly what they did and didn't do. Talking about those booster fans, we have homeowners pay for their dryer vent to be cleaned, and it's only halfway done because they only ran the rods up to the booster fan. And so now the customer has to pay for a new booster fan because it's burned up, and the rest of their run was never even not touched. So we see that a lot.
The cameras tell a story for sure.
Oh, yeah. That's very helpful.
That's our favorite tool.
Yeah, I bet. Because then
it keeps our technicians accountable. We're not there to hold their hands, and we want to make sure our customers are being taken care of. We get to see every photo that they take, and we know whether or not they did a thorough job. They know not to leave until they do, because they have to show us the before and afters too.
And it's not a iPhone camera and a flashlight. You guys have you actually go inside and take.
We can see the entire vent.
Okay.
From behind your dryer to where it exits.
Okay.
Our camera, it connects to our rods, so we get to just run that camera. It's a really good camera, high quality. Yeah. We can take pictures, videos. We can even do sound. You can, we can have sound on it and hear a customer, ooh and looking at the footage. I always encourage them too.
Yeah.
Hey, come take a look. I'll show you what's going on.
Right. It's like the plumber in the sewer scope. Just being able to check the condition of the pipe and where the blockage is and things like that.
And that's why we like to run it before we even start the work, because we want to see. We don't want to blindly put tools up into the vent. There could be something that will get further damaged because you may need a repair. A lot of times, people's vents will come apart in their attic because they weren't properly installed, or they had their roof refinished and they didn't reconnect it. Those are things we want to know about before we start the process.
Yeah. So speaking of companies that are just buying stuff and going out and providing service, there's a lot of bad ones out there. I think there's a lot of I didn't know this at the beginning when I was doing my research, that there's all companies out there taking advantage of people just coming in, saying, "Oh, we could do it for $80," and they come in and like, "Oh, it's like $3,000, right?" Before someone were to, because at that point the customer is a little vulnerable. They use the scare tactics. You got mold, you got this, you got that. And if I do it right now, it'll be this much, but if I have to come back, it's even more, right? So there's a bit of like urgency, scare tactic. Oh my gosh, my house is going to catch on fire and I got mold all over the place. Before they even call these people, what are some red flags? What maybe some questions they should be asking? How can they vet out these companies before they have them come over to their house?
Good question. And sadly, it's what we're up against in our industry.
Yeah,
because it is a very common thing. We hear it all the time. Questions you need to be asking right up front are they insured?
Yep.
Do they offer upfront pricing? If not, why? How long does their process take? Do they provide pictures? We think that's an important one because, again, it's something that the customer cannot see.
Yeah.
If something sounds too good to be true, more than likely it is. I think we have so many people that are looking for the cheapest, and somehow in their minds that equates to the right thing to do, and it, more often than not, is not. Our average dryer vent cleaning takes our technician about an hour and a half, assuming we don't run into anything. And that's because we do go above and beyond and make sure we leave the laundry room cleaner than we find it. But if you take a minute to think about it from a business perspective, how much did it cost to have you see the ad, to pay the person to answer the phone or your questions, book your appointment, the gas and insurance and vehicle maintenance it took to get there, the tools involved in the process, and to pay the technician to do the job.
Right.
If they tell you they can do all of that for $59.99, it's probably not true.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't be in business.
They're just trying to get into your
logically,
door.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
We actually had a customer cancel on us last minute because they found a deal just like that.
Yeah.
Somebody that said that they could get all of their AC ducts cleaned and their dryer vent cleaned for less than what we charge for a dryer vent cleaning. And we warned her. We were like, be careful. There are a lot of scams out there. And if something sounds too good to be true, it more than likely is. She ended up calling us back to inform us that that company had come into her home and in less time than it takes for us to do a dryer vent cleaning, supposedly cleaned all her AC ducts and her dryer vent. And she wasn't exactly sure what she paid for. Just for example, like for us, an average house takes 2 technicians a full day to do the work for the way we do it.
Yeah.
Because we clean each register before we reinstall it after we've cleaned your ductwork. So we're just wondering, how in the world can you sleep well at night going into a customer's home and telling them you did something that you didn't? So, go with your gut, ask questions.
Did that lady let you come in and do video and check her vents and stuff?
No, we did not. But we appreciated the update on what she experienced. She's like, well, I know now.
Yeah.
And we would love to rescue every person from that scenario, but it's sadly across the board in the service industry in general, something that
absolutely. I mean, even in construction, I hear stories of people, even in my own neighborhood. Oh yeah, they got this contractor asked for the entire amount up front, and the guy left town. And I'm like, why would you do that? And that's why a big thing that I do is the education pieces. You don't exchange money until you have a signed contract, scope of work, agreed scope of work, and then you have what's the payment schedule? What's the deposit, progress payments, and things like that. Don't exchange money unless you have that. And it's amazing that people, they'll feel like they have a deal and like, okay, well, I trust you, fork over the money and they're screwed.
And I know some industries have a lot of upfront costs. So I understand hey, it's half down or whatever you do.
Yeah, sure.
But
for
definitely
us,
the paperwork.
Have
something that says you agreed upon.
Exactly.
That.
For us, we don't do any money up front. We just trust when we're done that, hey, you're gonna pay us when you're done.
Sure.
When I send an estimate out and they say, let's go ahead and do it, and they sign the estimate, I buy all the material and just hope that they don't cancel schedule. So paying everything up front is that'll definitely should run some people off.
Yeah. Especially when you're doing when we did maintenance, we had a maintenance division for a bit. We didn't ask for money up front. It was whatever, time was there, whatever material you needed to buy, here's the invoice, charged afterwards. So I don't agree with the whole, you gotta pay me money first for me to show up type situation. I just don't like that very much. Yeah. So just kind of going back to these bad companies, we had a company come into my house. You guys know about this. This was a few months ago before we met you guys, right? So this was a week before we met you guys. Had we waited a week, I would not have this story.
A little curious.
Yeah, I wouldn't have the story to tell, but this happened, so I can tell the story. They came in and I was busy in and out with work, and then I had a doctor's appointment. So I wasn't really present, but Linda was home. And, Linda's not in the industry, so she doesn't know to ask certain things, understandably, which is your common homeowner. And so they came in and I knew it was going to cost this much. I'm like, okay, cool. Just get it all done. They're going to do our HVAC and our dryer. They came in, they said, they wanted to add something else. And what I looked at seemed reasonable to me initially. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Let's just get it done. And then I went to my doctor's appointment. I'm at my doctor's appointment and all of a sudden he's telling me we have mold and we have this and we have that. And now it's over $5,000. I'm like, no. I said, wait until I get home. So I'm rushing through my doctor's appointment. I rush home And I told the guy, I said, show me the test that shows that I have mold. And he goes, I didn't take a test. I said, well, how do you know I have mold? Because, you can't just say you have mold. He's not an expert. I said, exactly. Where's your license? Do you have a license that say that you are an expert in mold, that you can tell me that I actually have mold? Can you show it to me? Oh, I got pictures. And I said, well, what did you do? He goes, oh, I already vacuumed it up. I said, you're not wearing the proper equipment. And my wife is sitting in the house, supposedly with mold in the house, and you're spreading it around, so he got heated. Long story short, I told him, I said, grab your stuff, put everything back, get out of my house. And I had to call their manager because I told them I wasn't going to pay. They wanted to upcharge it because of the mold. I said, look, you didn't show me a test that I had mold, so I'm not paying that extra amount because I have mold. You guys don't have a license for that, so you're not an expert. I cannot pay that. So I paid enough so that way they wouldn't put a lien on my house, of course. But then, we noticed that the return vents were not put on properly. We would lay in bed. We could look up into our thing, It's just kind of odd. And then we met you guys, right? And then you guys came in. Linda was there. I wasn't there. So what did you guys find at our house when you were there?
Oh, there was a few things. It looked like even those vents that were turned the wrong way were, they were caulked in, but when they put them back, they didn't caulk them back in.
Yeah.
Which I think is fine, not caulking it back in, because they're not supposed to be caulked. But what stood out to me was that they ripped off
part of the sheetrock,
part of your ceiling.
It was kind of like hanging there and stuff. I'm like, man,
I was like,
now I got to get up there and do this crap.
Yes.
Well, and we pay attention to detail. So even something as simple as that supplier grill, when we take it off, I'm going to remember which direction it was pointing, because the last thing I want is someone saying, I'm sitting on my couch and I'm sweating now.
Yeah.
So we just pay attention to detail.
Sure.
Would I want to stand there and look inside my chase? No, I don't. It's kind of an eyesore.
Yeah. So now we talked about some of the bad things about some of the characteristics of bad companies, red flags and stuff. What are some good qualities of a good company?
Okay, we like. Oh, what did you do? Okay. We'd like to believe that people, if they're paying attention and asking those questions, should get a really good feel of what's going on with the company. But there are people that even fool us. Do your research, read reviews, ask your neighbors who have had services done. If a technician shows up to your home, or when they do, make sure you're paying attention to your first impressions. Is the vehicle well marked? Are they in company uniform? Are they making eye contact with you? How's their professionalism? Are they including you in the process and keeping you informed? If something doesn't feel right, it's okay to say, you know what? I changed my mind.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel right to me. Just trust your intuition. I don't think people are paying enough attention to that.
Yeah. And if people are if they're just hitting them with change orders, in my opinion, it's a red flag. It's like at that point, like, hey, this is not so urgent. I want a second opinion.
Absolutely. I think that's key. That's what we love about, we have upfront pricing. It doesn't change. A lot of companies will get that price out there. We talked about $59.99, $89.99, whatever it is. They throw that out there to get in the door. And then, like you experienced, we hear it over and over again. The price just keeps going up. Oh, your run is extra dirty. It's extra long. We charge this much extra per foot after this. You have mold. That's a common one. We name our price and we do exactly what we say we're going to do. Our technicians even verify, when they get there, hey, you're just to verify your roof. You do have a roof exit that cost this much. Do you want me to proceed with the work? We love to make sure that they keep the customer involved every step of the way. And never do anything without asking first. That's just so dishonest.
And we see it in construction too. And we have a policy on our team when there is a change order, when we run into something like this is kind of in the way, we weren't expecting it. We couldn't see it. It's a change order. Stop work, get approval, not just verbal, but written approval too. And then we proceed forward from there. It's just the arguments after the fact of dispute over money and this and that. It's unnecessary drama, you know?
Absolutely. And it's their house and it's their money. So
Yeah,
if
exactly.
they don't want to, replace the flex behind their dryer that has a hole in it, that's totally up to them. We'll do our best to tape it up and reinstall it. Our job is just to make sure you're aware of the needs, and you can choose as a consumer what you decide to proceed with.
And I understand change orders, like in your industry,
right.
There's things that are hidden that, could cost thousands of dollars to, route around a water line or some electrical.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
In this business,
it shouldn't be happening. You should know how much it costs to do the job.
So we tell customers we have no additional fees. So when we run into a booster fan, that's going to take an extra 30, 45 minutes to take that thing apart and clean it. But guess what? It's the same price. We don't want to charge extra.
Yeah.
We've got that price, and that's what we want to leave your home.
That's cool.
With you paying. That's the
fantastic.
last thing I want to do is ask for more money.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's always awkward when you do. So outside of dryer vents, you guys also do HVAC duct cleaning, which is kind of a big deal here in Houston. We run our AC units all the time up until maybe, gosh, it's December and I'm still running my AC unit, right? So, it's kind of a big deal. With that in mind, like how often should someone consider getting their ducts cleaned, specifically here in the Houston area?
The short answer, the industry answer is 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
Again, that just depends. Depends. Do you have animals in the home? When they're shedding hair everywhere, you're going to have to probably get it cleaned a little more often.
Right.
The cleanliness of your home. Is your home pretty dusty, and are you sweeping and kicking up dust everywhere?
Yeah, a lot of traffic in and out, windows and
sure,
doors
yeah.
and closed.
How often you change your air filter? Those things matter. Some people change their air filter not enough.
Yeah.
So you're not trapping dust. So those things are going to determine how often you need your dust.
Have you had a construction project done? Was there sheetrock or sanding of any sort happening? That's a good time to get it done after something like that.
The filter should be once a quarter, maybe?
It depends on what type of filter you have. If you've got a big 4-inch filter in your attic, you can get 6. Those are supposed to last 6 months to a year, depending on the environment. But your little 1-inch filters that kind of just go in that return air grill, those are 1 to 3 months.
Okay.
Again, depending on your home.
Yeah. I had a guy, the guy who came to my house had suggested we do have that thicker filter in our unit up in the attic. He also suggested getting the thinner filters with was it the return?
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys would recommend too? Like, what are your thoughts with allergies in the house, pets in the house, things like that?
Well, knowing your setup, you would have to unscrew your return grill from the ceiling every time you wanted to replace that filter.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really designed for that.
Yeah.
I've seen where people do that. Of course, you're going to restrict a little more air.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe your system can handle that. Maybe it can't.
Okay.
So, not being an engineer, I don't like to tell people.
Yeah. It really depends on how it was designed.
Yeah.
But keep that 4-inch filter. The more often you change it, the better.
Yeah, we change it. Well, whenever our thermostat turns red, whenever we need to change it, and whenever Linda will get on my back until I change it. So,
and it's a $30 filter probably.
Yeah,
so
it's
it doesn't
not that
hurt
bad.
to do it every
Right.
sooner rather than later.
Right. Yeah, when he told me that, I looked at it and I'm like, well, I got to unscrew it. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
It's too much work.
Exactly.
Plus, like you said, it could create too much strain on your system because you're stopping that airflow.
Slowing it down.
Slowing it down a little bit.
So, we talked about the signs of your dryer vent that needs to be cleaned. What about the HVAC ducting? What are signs that needs to be cleaned?
There's a few things, one of them being, musty smells. Like if it smells kind of musty in the home. If you're looking at your vent and you see that there's dirt, which maybe that guy in your house was calling it mold, that could be the condensation and dirt mixing together, turns kind of black or dark brown.
Right.
If you see that, it's probably time to go ahead and think about getting it cleaned.
Okay.
Some people have like a return air chase with a filter on it. some of your older homes, you can pop that filter out and look inside of there, and if it looks, pretty bad, it's probably overdue.
Okay.
Those are a few signs.
Okay. So we're talking about a year or so for the dryer vent, 3 to 5 years for HVAC.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Okay. And anything that someone could do, we talked about changing out your filters, maybe cleaning off your vents. Any other measures one could take to ensure that maybe they don't have to clean it as often?
Yes, I would say we have 4 out of 6 of our kids have dealt with allergies of some sort. It's showed up as asthma, skin allergies, and all the upper respiratory stuff. But we installed one of the products that we love to share with our customers who have allergies. Did you want to talk about that? Our indoor air quality products?
Just the dust-free active.
Yeah.
Helps keep dust and dander down, which really could maybe help you not have to clean the ductwork every 3 to 5 years, because it really, minimizes dust and dander.
And so what exactly is that? How's it installed?
It's installed in your attic or wherever your AC unit is. And we install it on the supply plenum. So it's, it's a UV light. It's got a few different technologies to help combat mold and mildew, dust and dander.
Okay.
It's top of the line product. It's definitely not cheap.
Yeah.
But we install it in there where all your air is mixed. Some people call it a mixing box.
Yeah.
But that supplier plenum, that's where all your air is going to. It's where it's wet, it's cold, it's dark. Mold loves that. Okay. So that's where we install it. And there's been a lot of great testimonies, even including ourselves. I don't sell something if I haven't used it and if I don't enjoy it. Because I want to have my own testimony. Yeah. Everybody's different though. Yeah. So that could help with not having to keep up with the maintenance on cleaning those ducts as often as,
Gotcha. So that would help cleaning your house, removing the pet hair, doing your filter, things like that will prolong that cleaning.
Yeah, changing that filter regularly. Yeah, like you said, and we don't have very many nice days where we get to open up the windows. Yeah, but when you're opening up windows, it's dusty out there. That's just kind of what it is. So when you got doors and windows open, you're bringing in dust. I love fresh air, so that's something I'm just willing to do. Because I just love it. So
we just have to make sure we keep up with our filters and maintain our vents because of it. Because we do. Right. Having our windows open as much as possible.
Kind of switching gears a little bit, and these are questions I didn't send you guys, so I'm just going to ask you real quick because I wrote them down as you were talking. But we've done a few laundry rooms where we've either added a dryer, so one dryer went to 2 dryers. Do you guys consult, or do you come in and help design where the dryer vent should go and things like that? Have you done that before? Is that something that you guys provide if you were to work with a construction company?
That's something we definitely offer. Being that we're relatively new, we haven't come across it a lot. I've had a couple customers that want to move laundry rooms. Yeah. And I'll kind of look and see what's best, because you don't want a 100-foot run if you don't have to. So I'll try to help the customer understand that. Yeah. I know you want. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but obviously I know the code book like the back of my hand, so everything's to code. Okay. So yeah, we definitely are willing to consult.
And I kind of asked selfishly because after we did that laundry room, I was like, man, that'd be great to have 2 dryers and 2 washers. The boys can have their thing, we have ours. So I've been talking to Linda about putting a stackable in our master closet. Okay. So run the gas line for the dryer, but then we would have to do the dryer vent too. I think it would be a little bit easier because we're closer to the exterior wall. Okay. And that part. So anyway, if we ever do that, I'll give you guys a call and say, hey, how do we design this, the dryer vent for that?
Absolutely.
And we do specialize in reroutes. So.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So that's definitely
fantastic.
We actually had a customer who had someone come in, and one of those companies that probably shouldn't be in somebody's home. She wanted the stackables, 2 sets. They tied it into 1 dryer duct and wanted to know why their dryer kept throwing a code. They were fighting over the space.
Oh,
And I believe there
yeah.
was even flex inside the
Yeah.
wall on that one. So again, code is not having flex inside your wall. That's another thing we come across a lot because people hire the wrong people.
So if you have 2 dryers, should you have 2 separate vents then?
You should.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And what about like a multifamily unit that has like 3, 4 dryers, right? They all should have their own
Yeah, and
vent
some
outside.
places, like some commercial places, they will have, you know, those dryer runs will go to like a big chase, you know, so they'll have 4 dryers kind of tied into a big piece of duct work.
Gotcha.
You
Okay.
know, and that's fine, but those dryers
Yeah.
need a full 4-inch inside diameter to properly, you know, breathe.
So 4-inch would be the minimum then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that code?
That is code.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Fantastic. That's good to know. Well, cool. You know, dryer vents, HVAC vents, any other services that you guys provide?
One of my favorite ones to do out in the field is coil cleaning on the outside AC unit.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's an important one. I don't know why. It's just so satisfying. Those things are so dirty, and to see them clean, I kind of geek out about dryer vents too. That's just
Sure.
I love cleaning up behind people's dryers even. But that's another really important one to take care of your HVAC system is making sure your coil can breathe. And they get really dirty, especially when we've gone through like a dry spell or there's construction, you know, in your neighborhood or whatever.
Especially in like some of these new areas where new developments where there's constant construction for 10 years straight. You know, we had that issue when we lived in California where there's construction for the 5 years we lived there. And so everything was dirty all the time. Yeah.
And your AC unit likes to just suck it all in, and then it has to work harder. And again, we like to help people, so why pay extra for your energy bill if you don't have to?
Yeah, and then if it works harder, it doesn't last as long, and then you have to pay $20-something thousand for a new unit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and for your like auto mechanics, I'll tell people it's kind of like your radiator on your car, right? If it's filthy or if something's blocking it and it can't expel that heat, then your car's gonna overheat. Your AC, you know, will overheat if it's dirty. Your dryer will overheat if it can't breathe. It all needs to be cleaned.
Good point. Yeah, good point. And you guys are in the Cypress area. What other areas do you guys serve in this local area?
We actually right now serve from Conroe to Katy, and we're looking to expand into the area between Katy and Clear Lake and everything in between.
Dang, that's a big area.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to get more trucks.
Absolutely.
That's the goal.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. And you guys have been in business for how
long? We've been in business just now 6 months.
Oh, jeez.
So our franchise has been around for about 4 years.
Okay.
And so this opportunity popped up here, this location. So we jumped all over it.
At just the right time. We were actually in the process of thinking about committing to a restaurant, a little bistro.
Oh, goodness.
Because we wanted to serve people.
Yeah.
But we were looking at the work-life balance and we were like, no, that's not going to give us more time with our family. No.
Yeah.
And he actually was throwing this one out at me and I was like, no, I don't want our business to be dryer vents. I want to serve people. But I'm like, you know what? It's still cool because we get to be, you know, talking to customers, reassuring them. Because again, we've talked about what we're up against in this industry in terms of people getting scammed and customer service in general. And so it's so nice to see how happy they are after it's done. And, you know, they feel good to have had it completed and not, you know, because again, they see the ads or hear about it or hear about somebody else that learned about it. And it's like fire. And we don't like to use the fear tactic, but it is an important thing to get done, and it's really nice when they feel comforted by the fact. And, I love seeing their faces after they see the before and after pictures because I'm like, we made somebody happy today. Score.
Yeah. See, I think it's great. I mean, you guys are using your experience and you're fell into something where there's a lot of scams going on, and you guys are the solution to that. I think that's fantastic. I think it's a great opportunity.
It feels like the right place for us to be.
Yeah, we even have, you know, a lot of customers they message us on Facebook and we're giving them prices and they're just kind of like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's it. You know, you can call me, I'll tell you the price. You can message me, I'll tell you the price. You can go on our website and see our prices. We don't hide from anybody.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of the scams, we even have, it's happened several times, but one guy in particular, he keeps getting on to our Facebook ads and making comments about, oh, it's a scam. Oh, they're an Indian rug company. They're, they're this, that, or the other. Or he'll post things that, say, be aware of scams that often include dryer vent cleaning services, sadly. So, I just recently took the opportunity to say, hey, listen, let me tell you who we are. We're a Christian couple trying to make our way in the world, trying to do good in our community. 10% of our profits go to good causes. We like to take care of the real heroes in our community, which in our eyes are our, military, our first responders, and our teachers. We always offer them 10% off because we want to do good with,
of course,
with this part of our life. So, here's who we are. Call us anytime. And just FYI, right now, my husband and I are the ones that will be answering your calls.
That's
so,
cool.
Messages.
So we'll talk to you directly. We'll let you know who we are. But we're up against a lot there.
But I think it's a great opportunity, though.
It is.
Like
it is. And
there's a need there, and you
that.
guys are the solution. I see you because we have our Tuesday business meetings, and you jump out and you answer the phone calls. Like that's the important. It's serving the people, right? And that's fantastic. I had mentioned earlier that I had wished we didn't get our stuff cleaned yet because we met you a week after we got it cleaned. And we shared the story with you guys. We're like, man, why didn't we wait a little bit longer? I blame Linda because she really pressured me on this one.
Let's get it done.
It's her fault. So anyway, that's her Christmas present. But
I'm a firm believer on that note that everything happens for a reason. And
I agree.
So it's a cool opportunity for us to be able to share your story and ours.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
With that.
Yeah, so I got to pay for that story.
So your expense.
So thank you, Chris. Thank you.
But you guys came in after the fact. I mean, you offered, say, hey, we can come in with our camera just to make sure they actually did the job. And there were some things like we wanted to turn some of our vents around. I thought when I was looking at them, I could see inside. I'm like, man, that must have been really dirty because I've never seen it inside before. But Linda's like, no, they put it on backwards. So you guys came in, corrected all of that. You came in, I believe you did the camera through our dryer vent just to confirm everything was good to go. I believe you said that there was something on our invoice about some HVAC piece that really should not have been cleaned or something. Do you recall that?
I wish I had it. I do remember bringing something up that I was like,
what is this?
What is this?
And with your HVAC experience, you know what you're looking for. And like, what? This shouldn't be on here. This is not something that this industry does. Yet they charged us for it, right? So
and your average homeowner is not gonna.
I mean, I'm in construction. I didn't know that, right? I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Like,
if he says he did it,
I know, but bad on me. But anyway, you guys' integrity is completely there. You guys are great people. I've gotten to know you at last few months,
and we feel the same about you and Linda. Absolutely.
Oh, I appreciate that.
We're really
Thanks.
happy to have gotten to meet you.
Yeah, and your guys' service is fantastic. Your pricing is great. You guys came in and helped us out. You gave us that peace of mind that like, okay, even though we got kind of screwed, you guys came in just to make sure we were still good to go.
Absolutely.
And that's just the type of people you are. So, and that's why I wanted you on the show is because I'm like, hey, I want to highlight some good people. You guys are a young business. You guys are doing great. And I want you guys to get even more business. And when people are doing research online about this stuff, I want them to see you guys because I know that they're going to get served well.
We appreciate that more than you know.
And I wouldn't treat them any differently than I treated you.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's excellent, guys. Well, anything else? Like if someone wants to contact you guys, service, whatever, how does that work? What do they need to do?
We have an online submission form that we receive directly to my email on our website, dryerventheroes.com/Cypress-TX.
Okay.
You can always message us on Facebook. That is actually me doing the messages.
Okay.
I respond until I'm falling asleep. And then you can always call us at 832-990-9199. And again, that's us you're talking to on the phone for now until we grow a little bit.
Exactly. So what we'll do is we'll put all that information on the YouTube description and then also on the website. That way, if people want to get in touch with you, they can have a resource to go to.
Perfect. We appreciate that so much.
It's an honor be on your show. So
oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Anything else you guys want to bring up while we're here and we got the record button going?
Yeah, I don't want to keep you too long, so I don't really have anything that comes to mind.
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, of course, cool. I'll think of 1,000 things after.
No problem, man. We could do a part 2. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. It was nice to learn a little bit more about dryer vents, about you all. And it's just great to showcase great people. So I appreciate you coming in today.
We appreciate it. Thank you.